Got the countdown. Okay, guys, looks like we're on air, and with Google Chat, it's always that awkward waiting to see if you're on air, but we are here. Here, Tim Marrant, go check out his channel, sub to him.
Hi.
Yay, what's up? That's Tim.
Hey.
Last week on his channel, we did the America's Best Comics superheroine of the Mystic, Alan Moore's Promethea. This week we're on my channel, and we're continuing with Alan Moore's stuff with Tom Strong. Okay? Tom Strong. Yes, yeah. Well, what do you have to say about Tom Strong there, Tim?
I was trying to remember when, what was it? I had just finished reading Invisibles. I picked them all up at once offline. I had a couple like single issues and I absolutely loved it. And I went on eBay and I found a huge lot, like $30, I think is what I paid for all of the Invisibles. And I loved it. It was great. And it got me kind of thinking. I was like, so I know why everybody likes Grant Morrison at this point. And I knew why everybody loved Alan Moore, but the Swamp Thing back issues are ridiculously priced. I mean, I could get the trades and all that stuff, and you know, it would just be more financially feasible to do that rather than tracking down the singles.
Okay.
So I was looking for what else he had done, and that's when I came across this. And it was the same kind of thing. I got the whole series of this plus the 12 issues of Terrific Tales all in one swipe off of eBay. And I think I paid like $40 for this. And it was, I mean, dude, this is, truthfully, there were a couple issues that I hadn't read before today, but I mean, it's good. I could see it. We talked about earlier in the Promethea video about how America's Best Comics was his attempt to bring like the lighthearted feel back to comics after he killed everybody in the Watchmen. Not killed everybody, but like he broke comics. It was all dark and gritty. Yeah, we got some good stuff out of that, but for him to come back to the lighthearted side of comic books, I think this was great. And some of the talent that he brought in for Tom Strong and then for Terrific Tales is, you know, top shelf. It's really good.
Yeah. What going on what you're saying there, Alan Moore, when he admits that he's a grim, dark, Gothic guy.
Right.
And I just watched an interview a couple of days ago, which was really strange how it popped up in my feed. I wasn't even hunting for it, but where we did the Promethea video, I'm guessing it's where Alan Moore's name was on it, and it popped up. I mean, it was really weird, considering all the magic and the mystic we talked about with Alan Moore, and then this video finds its way. And in it, he said that Northampton is where the Gothic sensibility came from. You know, it goes all the way back to some dude, 200 years, some dude, listen to me, this great poet, making poems, doing poems about the cemeteries and stuff they have in Northampton. And it just went from there. The Gothic stories came next. But what he got, after he admitted that, he said that with Watchmen, yes, they showed all the flaws of superheroes and all this stuff, but what he was expecting people to do was to look on the storytelling techniques you only have in Watchmen. And that's one of the reasons I love it. The way you can only tell a story in comics that doesn't translate anywhere else by using the panels and the colors and all the things that are intangible anywhere else. And then he said that nobody picked up on that. What happened was it turned into more sex, more violence, more nudity, more, you know, whatever. It just went really dark, and that wasn't the real intent of it. So that's where he started going with, you know, he made a promise to make lighthearted stories. He kind of did that with Supreme at Awesome Comics with Rob Liefeld. And when Awesome Comics went out, that's when he decided to go ahead and do America's Best Comics through Wildstorm, you know.
Yeah.
And Tom Strong, all the comics, it's the origin of true comic books. Tom Strong, and he said it's a rip of Doc Savage, and this is inspired by the pulps of the 20s and stuff.
Yeah, you can clearly see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Once you know where Tom Strong comes from, you can kind of hop on the cult. This book has a huge cult following. It really does. When it comes to, I mean, there really are strong men of America that love Tom Strong out there. You know,
awesome. Number 847. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Tom Strong's even got the Strong Men of America fan club in the comic, led by Timmy Turbo. That was one of the first. They announced this in a Wizards one shot that came with Wizard magazine, where they interviewed all these people, and there was Timmy Turbo doing like this. He was like a kid on the street news thing, drawing real cartoony, interviewing Tom Strong and talking about all these characters and stuff before it came out. So
awesome.
yeah, right off the bat, you can tell it was all innocent and stuff for kids. And Tom Strong is actually kind of targeted at 11, 12, 13-year-olds, like kids who read comics in the 60s and stuff. But it's got the sensibility that adults can read it. So it doesn't, it's not completely innocent, but it's not, low brow either,
Yeah, no, it totally reads like some pulp with yeah, I could see that. There's a lot of sensibilities that are geared towards kids, but they do talk about some stuff in the book that, like the issue where it turns out that the crazy Nazi chick is her son is Tom Strong's son from when he was tied up and like knocked unconscious for like 4 hours. Yeah. She got his genetic material, and kept it on ice for 50 years, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I can't remember what she named the kid, but this is her right there, the Nazi lady,
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Yeah. And then there's his son that has been raised to kill him,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So basically, with the origin of Tom Strong, they pulled from Edgar Rice Burroughs. Tom Strong's father was a scientist in the 1890s or something. And he decides, when he finds out his wife's pregnant, he takes her to this island. I think it's like a West Indian island or something, at a bar Taru. And he raises his kid as soon as Tom Strong was born. I think he's actually born in this chamber he made where it's supposed to be high gravity. He'll have no human contact, and it's all logic. Like he's constantly doing mathematical problems and toys that are geared towards building a logical mind,
Yeah.
And it's one of the things you hear and you're like, what is high gravity and what exactly is the logic we're talking about? I mean, he was born in 1900. But that goes back to the pulp days. They just kind of gave you, here's the exotic land origin. Some people went to the Tibet and the Himalayas and got their powers or trained or whatever, like the Shadow and all that stuff. Here he's in the West Indies. He's put into a cave that's all modified, and he's just observed by his parents growing. And his mom, all his mom ever wanted to do was just give him one hug, and he could not have any affection. So that made Tom Strong a little bit cold in the emotion place. He's not cruel or anything like that. It's just he's always got a calm demeanor. Like he doesn't react like anybody else would. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was like Savine, his villain in this.
Mm-hmm.
There was an issue where he shows up after everybody thought he was dead. Tom Strong goes to find him, and it's like this big elaborate trap. And he's just like, he's all calm about it. He's like, none of this is going to work. None of this is going to kill me. I mean, it's all meticulous. It's not, I don't want to say it's like narcissistic, but it's like he's like a duck on the water. It's like whatever comes up, he's got it figured out. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't yell. I mean, he has a big booming voice, but he's not. Yeah, no, it's cool. I dig it.
Yeah, man. If I had a cookie, I'd give it to you, man. A duck on the water is exactly what I was like. I've been looking for those words for 15 years, He's there, yeah. So basically, this book, what a lot of people don't realize is that Tom Strong takes place in real time. He's really like 102 years old. Well, he's 99 years old in this book. He looks like half his age. And that's because of a mystic root on this island of natives or something from at a bar,
Yeah.
And, while he's there, and this is one thing that surprised Tom Strong, or Alan Moore surprised me, this is his family. Okay, this is well, it's not all of his family. Crap.
No, he's got lots of family.
Anyway, he's got the wife and the daughter look exactly alike, but he married the princess of the island. Dula, was that her name?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then he had a daughter that they named Tesla, and that's Tesla. Okay. And what surprised Alan Moore is that when this book came out, he started getting letters from people that were saying, what you've done is a very brave thing. And he didn't know what they were talking about. So he asked him to elaborate. And it was the first mixed race couple in a comic book in America, in a mainstream. Yeah. And it just blew his mind because he said he didn't even set out to do that. That was just how the story developed. And he's also like, it's the year 2000. You know, what's the big deal? You know. So right off the bat, you know, it's got like this weird tone. It's this little pulpy, innocent book, and people are starting to point out the social themes and stuff in it that he didn't even try to put in there. You know,
that wasn't even his intent. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
and
it makes sense because it was Tom Strong and then the natives. I mean, he hung out on the island after he got out of the high gravity chamber for like 15 years?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he was in there for a while. Yeah,
of course. Before he takes off to the mainland, whatever they call it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and Tom Strong's got a definite history. It's not big time continuity driven, but there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know what I mean? Like you read all this Tom Strong stuff, and there's a history there. You know, definite time periods and stuff. Just to kind of get what we were talking about to get through some of this stuff, man. I mean, like these stories take place. Alan Moore was asking himself, what would Jack Kirby do in a few of these, and what would Julius Schwartz from the '60s do? A lot of this stuff he wants it to read like '60s Silver Age stuff, right? So they were short stories, all kind of complete in there and really nice. You know, you get an origin story, right? You know, and I like how like the logo changes with whatever era he's hitting for. So we get a few adventures. We get the Aztec adventures that they always have. Even Doctor Who met the Aztecs in the '60s. You know, he kind of touched on a lot of stuff that's there. But issue 5 with the Pangean is where he got me. This was the one where I love this story. Yeah, he ends up back in time when Earth was one continent, and it's called Pangea. And this is the only living thing on there. It reminded me of Eve of the Living Planet in a way, you know. Just heavy sci-fi pulp stuff that was just blew me away when I read it, you know. And he would reference this later, man. Like a lot of these stories you didn't think would pop back up. I can tell we're on air, man. Everybody's watching or talking to me now.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's even the issues that he didn't write, he still referenced them further down the line. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of the coolest things about like the whole ABC thing is it was all one universe. And since 60% of it was written by him, he already had a feel of the characters. So you have like Smack and Toy Box show up in an issue, and it's really them. It's not somebody else's interpretation of Smack and Toy Box or Prometheus. You know, or that kind of thing. It was really cool.
What I like is that he didn't give you a clue with all the books that this was one universe. It kind of developed. Like you could tell in his head he'd already written everything and everybody. Right. Because you can be reading Prometheus and you're not really picking up on it. And then all of a sudden there'll be a Tom Strong story where he has a flashback and there's the 50s, the Prometheus from the 50s in a group with Tom Strong and, you know, all these guys from
Tomorrow Heroes or whatever they were called. Yeah.
And you're just like, what? This is one universe?
That Bill?
You know, the weeping gorilla popped up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
Not to digress here, man, but I just got sent a list of movies people want us to do for our movie viewings, you know, that we do with Scott X and Tylox the Mighty.
Right.
We've got Princess Bride, Goonies, Gremlins, Dream a Little Dream, Lost Boys, Legend, and Howard the Duck.
Man, those would all be great.
Yeah, it's funny. I got most of those. But anyway, so that's what I mean. These are just straightforward, simple stories that are easy to follow, and you get like little Easter eggs and stuff. And he references little things here and there that happen. Like by issue 15, he'll reference something from issue 4. And you're just like, oh, it does come together, you know. And, you know, Chris Sprouse did most of the art, but they have Art Adams pop in there, Jerry Ordway, a few issues.
Hi, baby.
Yeah. And, you know, like we already touched on his son and stuff, you know. Yeah. But we also want to talk about that, you know, part of the family is that he's got Solomon, the talking gorilla. He did a experiment on its brain in the 30s, and it worked, you know. So I think he has an English accent. Isn't he like an English gentleman or something?
At first, yeah, but later on, like as more time goes, where they're further into the future, it's like he's like a 1940s beatnik. Like, what was that Marlon Brando movie where he's on a motorcycle? He's like one of those guys. Thanks, love.
Oh yeah, the oh my God, it's like what are you rebelling against? Well, what do you got?
Yeah.
Wild one, the wild one.
Wild Ones. Yeah. Yeah. That was great. Yeah. And Newman is always Newman. And yeah.
Tell them I'm doing a live stream here. Oh man, but can you keep talking? I can listen at the same time, man. I'm just giving
Cool.
a short message that I'm on a live stream.
So, yeah, like you said, issue, what was it, 6, 5 with Pangea.
Yeah,
That was
I
pretty
love
cool.
that one. Yeah,
Then they kind of go back into what happens when his kid is all grown up and he's still angry at him. So this
yeah,
book takes place a little bit further into the future, and this is
yeah,
where Solomon. I don't think it's Solomon because it's the guy with the pipe wrench and the biker hat, the monkey.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like Solomon 2.0. And then they kind of do this like one-off Western just because they can, with the people with the 3 eyes who got abducted by the aliens and didn't realize they had been abducted by the aliens.
Yeah,
So
man.
it's like
Yeah.
a Western movie town stuck in the middle of Utah, like in like real life or current events kind of thing.
Yeah, that had like a Twilight Zone effect to it. You know what I mean? Like, oh man.
And at the end of it, he's like, I can take you guys with me. And they're like, well, I don't want to go. I'm out of date and I have 3 eyes. I'm just going to stay here with the rest of the out of date and 3-eyed people.
Yeah, and it was kind of sad and sweet at the same time. Am I remembering this right? You know what I mean? Like when you read it, you were just kind of like, oh man, leave him alone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. He just like rolls up on these people and is kind of interested. Him and Solomon are riding horses in the desert, and they come across these people growing these weird purple plants with 3 eyes.
yeah.
And, yeah. Of course, it's the comic book trappings. There's a fight, and then there's a mutual understanding, and then the story concludes. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. For a rodeo, they don't just do horses and stuff. They have these weird little creatures and stuff that they, get out on the plain and get. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
instead of cows, they've got purple people eaters.
Right.
So
It's great.
what made me really geek out about that one when I bought it, I hate using that word geek out, was he got a guy named Al Weiss to come in and do the art. I don't know how that happened, but like Al Weiss did he did a lot of art in the 70s for Marvel, and he did the Kiss magazine where they put their blood in the ink and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, and I was such a huge Kiss fan as a kid. He's embedded in my mind forever. So I was like, they got Al Weiss. How did this happen?
Yeah.
Now Paul Chadwick, is that the guy that does Concrete?
Yes.
Yeah, they got him in on this for a little bit. I don't remember these. Terror at the Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was also kind of the point in the story where it kind of seemed like it was more who wants to come play in the pool kind of thing rather than just Alan Moore narrative. He would do every couple of issues. It was straight up Alan Moore and what's his name, Chris Sprouse. But the rest of the time, it was just like a rotating cast of awesome, talented people that just wanted to come hang out for an issue or whatever. Yeah. And it all works. It's all self-contained. It's all great. They don't do this anymore. This would have been like a 8-issue crossover mega event if this would have been Marvel or DC.
Yeah.
But they got it all concise and down to 24 pages. This is great.
Yeah. And what Alan Moore did around this time this is around the time that, Alan Moore said he would never work for DC again over the Watchmen and a few things that happened. Well, in the middle of this, Jim Lee, who owned Wildstorm, this is right when he sold Wildstorm to DC. And the only reason Alan Moore kept going is that he was keeping a lot of his friends working.
Yeah.
And that's why he hung in there.
Now, Adams wasn't doing anything.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to Adams in a minute, man. I found out some stuff that he did on this and how he did it. And I was like really impressed. It makes his art. Art Adams says that the Joni Future stuff he did in the Tom Strong Terrific Tales is the best work he's ever done, in his opinion.
I agree with that. It is. It is. Hands down. It is. And then when you find out the format of the pages that he uses, I mean, you have like Charlie Adler does like his pages are like 8 by 10 or something. They're really small, so he can bang out like 4 of these in a day.
Yeah.
But Arthur Adams, his are huge. They're like, what, it's 22 by or 34 by 20, something huge. So it takes him like he has an assistant copy his breakdowns onto the page, like rough outline them, and then he goes back and pencils them. And that takes, he says he can get 3/4, maybe half of a page done a day. And then it takes him 3/4 to like a day and a half to ink it. That's crazy. But I mean, they're huge. You have like normal size. I think I have one here. Yeah, it would be like this big versus, I don't know, like this. This would be almost normal size comic page. And then this would be what he's working on, which is awesome.
Yeah, he did. The detail that he went in with Joni Future was so he could get that much detail in, and he experimented with cross hatching and all these other techniques to give it an organic feel, man. I mean, he went for it. I don't know what got into him, man, but it's inspired, and he considers that his best work ever. So.
And then this was about the time that he told J.H. Williams to stop worrying about being fast and to just make his stuff look like he wants it to do. I mean, this is when J.H. Williams started inking his own work. So, thanks for that, Arthur Adams, because then we got that great Batwoman stuff and everything else he's done since then. Sandman Overture. And that was all because of Arthur Adams.
That makes sense. That's a cool little piece of trivia there, man. I mean, that's when they kind of met. So, oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, since we're talking about that, let's take a break from the Tom Strong books and talk about the Tom Strong's Terrific Tales.
Hold on a second. I got them on the table.
Yeah, no problem. But these were 12 issues for you guys out there. There's just 12 of them, and there's 3 stories. Let me get the glare off there. And there's 3 stories in each book. Okay, there's only 12 of them. They brought in a lot of talent to work on these.
Yeah,
and
they did.
Very good. I'll get back. Okay. And now the Tom Strong Terrific Tales, this is where we kind of go back in time from the regular Tom Strong series. It's got one of the medicine's hidden. Okay. Basically what we got, what kind of runs through here is that you get tales of a young Tom Strong, like in the 19-teens, the 20s, before he came, adventures on the island, and then you'll get like another Tom Strong story or one of the supporting cast from like the 50s or the 60s or something. But then we get the Art Adams stuff we're talking about, the adventures of Joni Future. And this was my favorite. Yeah. Johnny Future. I'm sorry.
Yeah. One of the most impractical costumes, but like even in the book, she mentions it. It's like when she's switching into her costume, she's like, well, I'm going to go get partially undressed.
Yeah. Basically what happens, the background of her real quick, is that she inherits this house from her uncle, who I don't think she's ever met, and he's been gone for 20 years. I mean, she might have met him as a kid, I don't know. But part of getting this house that she's inherited is that she can never sell it. And when you show up there, Arthur Adams has drawn the Norman Bates Psycho House. It's Psycho House.
Yeah, with the bridge on the roof leading into nothing. Yeah.
Goes nowhere. And you start kind of finding out that her uncle is like this famous pulp writer, kind of like Truman, what was his name? Kilgore Trout from like, oh my God, I'm one blank, man. Who wrote Slaughterhouse-Five? I can't believe I'm one blank.
Vonnegut?
Yeah, Vonnegut. Yeah. He's kind of like a pulp writer like that. I mean, he made some money, don't get me wrong, he does all these tales that remind you of like Edgar Rice Burroughs, Philip Jose Farmer, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I got number 2 here. But anyway, she has no clue about this, so she's walking around the house, and it's been a big mystery of what happened to him and stuff. But I just couldn't get over the house the first time I saw it, and this is when I think, people will show up. Yeah, I mean it's the right there it is. It's it's even got the same steps and everything. All it needs is a motel in front of it. So I thought that was cool. But basically, that bridge will take her 4 billion years in the future, and all the stories that her uncle was writing in those pulp novels were his adventures in the basically the same outfit. Like the helmet is is a translator. It's how they can go to all these weird dimensions and aliens and understand them. And the thing pulls from Barbarella because it's got TNA in it, but it's tongue in cheek. You know, it's not out and out dirty, but it's got that substance to it. And then she gets what's his name, Jerval or whatever it is, the cheetah man that lust after her in the backgrounds, kind of like, you know, Archie lust over Betty and Veronica. It's got that feel to it, you know.
It gets a little bit more graphic than that, but yeah.
The Dream Machine where it showed his fantasies or something, or something, yeah.
He's like, oh, I didn't see that. It's okay, we're still friends. Yeah, he's all embarrassed.
Yeah, every issue, man, it's just like the moth ladies from that one dimension, and just, I mean, everything about the future. It's one of those things I can't believe that, you know, their spaceship is a freaking goldfish, man, a gigantic goldfish, you know, in the middle of all this. I mean, it opens its mouth, they climb in.
I don't know. I asked her, and she said there's a lot of variables. So
but like, here's the moth women. The moth women just blew my mind. I mean, just the designs and stuff that he was doing.
Yeah, and that ABC sketchbook I found in the dollar bin a couple weeks ago, that was the page that they had shown the moth women design sketches. And I was like, I don't remember this in Tom Strong. I got to find these issues. So then I went on my comic shop and just typed in the Arthur Adams Tom Strong stuff, and the Terrific Tales pulled up. I was like, oh, duh, I have those. But yeah, this is hands down some of his best work.
I'm trying to find that, and I think it's number 5. The one, number 5 of Tom's Terrific Tales. This is the one where you texted me and said Sergio Aragonis, and I like really didn't remember it. And as soon as I opened it, I remembered it. So they got Sergio Aragonis in here, and he did a Solomon, their talking gorilla. They did a story with him, and I don't think there's any words in it. They had a couple stories with no words, and it's just a day in the life of a talking gorilla in Millennium City, and he's having a nightmare where a gigantic 50-foot woman has got him on top of a giant building, holding him. You know, that's his nightmare.
It's like the reverse King Kong.
Yeah. I can Dad's later, but I was supposed to go home visit at 5:30, so I was like off and visit.
But seeing Sergio and Alan Moore come together was just freaking awesome. But
yeah, I remember like Mike Coluto or Bruce Timm even did that one story where it was like what happened to all the Jungle Girls. They're all like in the same island in like a Jungle Girl reserve kind of park reserve, being hunted by snobbish British people.
Oh yeah, man. But I'll grab that out here in a minute here. But the same issue's got Sergio in here. I love this one story because they told the whole story like it's 1966 Batman trading cards.
You can come earlier if you want to in time for sure.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. You get the card, and then they give you stats on the back, and you know they show you everybody that's all the villains and some of their adventures and stuff, and then you read the back of the cards and you get the whole story. I mean, I thought that was just genius. Here it is, number 11 with the Bruce Timm story. There's a panel in this that actually used to be my avatar on a message board.
Well, I mean, they can hear you.
Yeah. Here's the Bruce Timm art. People don't know if Bruce Timm isn't ringing a bell. He's the guy that was behind the Batman animated series in the 90s, all the way up to the Justice League Unlimited cartoons, you know. But this is a great one, man. It's got like, you know who they are, man. It's like Rima, the Jungle Girl, Tarzan's wife, Jane. That's right there. That's Shanna, the She-Devil from Marvel and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, the English guys have rounded them all up and have made a reserve full of the women where they fight with each other. But right here is a page. This used to be my avatar, man. They're all, you got the two guys grinning real big, and the girl's about to hit him in the back of the head. And it says, "Gee, Dad, you know so much about women and their primitive ways," and they're about to knock the shit out of them. You know.
Yeah. Great.
That actually used to be my avatar on message boards. You know, I always thought that was funny. Oh, good stuff. And this is also the issue where Joni Future meets her uncle Johnny, or Johnny Future meets his Johnny. You know, and he's wearing the exact same costume, so you know, it gets around the sexist thing.
It's still a little second.
Oh man. But I mean, it's just amazing, man. Because like I think Alan Moore just wrote the first 20, I don't know, 22 issues. No, that ain't right. Yeah, 22 issues of Tom Strong, and then he did a few short stories and another 12 issues, and you know, a one shot. He did two one shots, and that was it. And Tom Strong has such a rich little history that's real easy to put together. You know what I mean? Like he's made a Tom Strong world that's not complicated, and when you read it, man, it all just gels together really easy. You know, it's not hard. You know, but he had a silent issue that really cracked me up where Tesla Strong, his daughter, snuck out. Tom Strong was sleeping on a chair, easy chair. She grabbed the keys to his spaceship, flew off to a planet, partied down. It shows her puking in an alleyway, screwing this gigantic, grotesque alien, checking her watch while he's on top of her, and gets home and she tries to put the keys back. And then when Tom Strong wakes up, she's passed out in the floor from partying so hard.
Yeah.
Now, Alan Moore's got two daughters, and I'm just kind of wondering if he's writing from life, you know.
Yeah. Because, like we said earlier, I mean, that it didn't really fit with how she was portrayed in the regular Tom Strong stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. The Justice ripoff on the logo.
Yeah. Jumping back over here to the regular Tom Strong stuff, the book actually kind of took off when he brought out these heroes that were in public domain. Like here's the Justice League logo.
Yeah.
Apparently, across the universe is another planet not called Earth but Terra Obscura, and it's really he's taken these public domain heroes like Black Terror and a few other ones, and that's where they're at. And it turns out they've been in I don't know, somebody's put them in a coma or a suspended animation for decades. And his version of Tom Strong on this planet is Tom Strange, and he actually spent something like 20 years running across the universe to come get help from Tom Strong, you know. And it wasn't not too long after this, man, they started doing the superpowers books that Alex Ross is doing for Dynamite Studios and stuff. It's just some of the same heroes, you know. But those characters got a huge following, man. They even came out with a miniseries to tell the rest of their stories. And I heard this was like due to demand, not that they had it planned, you know. So
yeah.
And then this one, they brought in the bunny. He started like tapping the Marvel family, Captain Marvel and Shazam and all them, you know, which I thought. Oh, but the last story that Alan Moore did that I couldn't really understand why he did. It was kind of cool though. I mean, but all of a sudden, you know, something happened in time, and instead of Tom Strong on that island, you know, becoming our Tom Strong, a native of that island becoming Tom Stone, and he took over the book for a while, and it was like an alternative. Yeah. And they started tapping cover, you know, more cover homages there. There's I think that's Fantastic Four 26 or Avengers 26 or something. That would have been the Hulk on top of it. We got the Crisis thing where Savine dies. You know, this version of Savine.
Yeah.
And
I love
it's
that
not.
Cover.
Yeah, and the whole point was that what if it was like he was a more of an emotional creature than Tom Strong, and it didn't really end up that well. So it kind of showed you that him being Tom Strong is how it should have been. It didn't really have a happy ending, I don't think.
No.
And then we get into all the guest writers and stuff you were talking about. Brought in Jeff Johnson, new stories, Brian K. Vaughan, Michael Moorcock, Ed Brubaker. Ed Brubaker's story about putting Tom Strong in the real world, like really, really depressed me. When I read this two-parter, man, it depresses me. It makes me sad, you know.
I liked it. It's probably one of my favorites in the series, at least the later part of the series. The guest writers go.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, those two issues, man. But yeah, it made me sad, man. It was like, you know, him being Tom Strong was the fantasy, and he was just some blue-collar worker that was a loser looking for work all the time.
Yeah.
Really depressing. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, man. I'm a big Elric fan and Michael Moorcock guy, but these issues were weak. I mean, they actually tie into the Elric books, anytime Michael Moorcock touches Elric in any way, shape, or form, it's part of the Eternal Champion stuff that he puts in his novels and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe I can go back and reread these. I don't know. Really strange book. They all got turned into pirates. You know.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's about all I got to say, man. I mean, like this one shot, man. This is worth finding. This is just a fun little book of Tessa Strong. She gets on this dimensional little surfboard. I don't know, not a surfboard, but it's probably supposed to be a skateboard for her or something. And she goes through all these dimensions. You see different versions of the Strong family and stuff. And it's got tons and tons and tons of artists in it. But Art Adams did this great, back to Adams, man. Art Adams did this great little 2-page spread of all the different gorillas. There's like a Shazam gorilla, a Frankenstein gorilla of Solomon, like right here. I love that. I love the Frankenstein gorilla, man. I want that book. That's my book right there. I want someone to do gorilla Frankenstein. You know.
Yep. So with the exception of like the occasional issue, Alan Moore leaves Tom Strong at issue 23.
Right.
And then you have all the stuff we just talked about. And then he comes back for the finale, issue 36.
Right.
Okay. Now, as far as like finales go, I think this one was great. It wasn't like they added the twist that you wouldn't have expected, and I don't really want to give it away, but it ties into everything else that is going on in the ABC universe at the time, like particularly with Promethea.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool. And regardless of how cool and inventive art in comics is, every time I see Promethea that is not drawn by J.H. Williams, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. And this wasn't, yeah.
J.H. Williams put his mark with that character, man. I don't think people realize how important that series is when it comes to J.H. Williams' career. That's the one. And I think the reason that finale for the whole ABC line to begin with is that was the plan all along. Alan Moore saw the beginning and the end, and it shows.
Yeah, he was definitely writing towards an end rather than just milking it forever. Like some people do. I mean, and, this was still at Wildstorm, so I'm not sure when Jim Lee sold it to DC, and I know he was pissed about the whole thing, but it doesn't come off like he canceled or he stopped doing Tom Strong because he didn't want to work for DC anymore. This was like, you get the impression that the story had run its course.
Yeah, I think he kept the integrity of the books going despite, it going to DC. He didn't let that bleed into it. I'm also wondering, did he have everything written and handed out before the line even got started? Like, had he already written so far ahead, and had all the scripts ready and stuff? Because when you look at it, these books started out monthly, then they went bi-monthly, then quarterly, then you never knew when they were coming out. So to be doing 4 books a month, and some of these books were an anthology series, so it's 3 stories within those books, you know what I mean? Like all the variety and everything that he did. I think he had a lot of I think he had at least the first year of all these books written, and then that's when they went quarterly and everything. So yeah.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why, and this is just my speculation, that the Terrific Tale stuff was an anthology was because Arthur Adams was doing the art and he needed the time to finish his pages. Because a lot of this just kind of comes off as like 8-page fillers. They even like kind of joke at it about how it's an 8-page filler story. But, and that's fine. I'll take 8 pages of gorgeous, the best Arthur Adams art ever versus no Arthur Adams art. So, the backup stories were a lot of fun regardless.
Rather
than call this Johnny Future, it was Tom Strong Terrific Tales. So that's just my speculation. But man, Arthur Adams, Bruce Timm. Why not? Alan Moore.
Yeah, you can't.
This is great. Issue 11. This is probably one of my favorites.
It's a can't lose thing, and it just blows my mind. It's okay. It just blows my mind how the best Art Adams work was in the anthology series. You know what I mean? Like they didn't put him out front or just say this is Art Adams. Wildstorm, Johnny Future stuff. you know, it's a hidden gem. It's a little treasure. It's one of those things you're reading and you're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. I mean, you can really look at his pages and just get blown away by him and just sit there and just keep staring and everything. So I'd get those just for the Art Davenport.
Yeah. And you know, he did the covers and he did some of the covers and they're great, but like you wouldn't have thought that this was an Adams book. I mean, other than he's the fourth person named on the credits, you know?
Yeah.
Granted, Michael Caluto and Alan Moore are before him, but still he's in here. It's great.
Yeah, and it's wild. I've never read the Mike Caluta story in there because it's done in prose.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Caluta is walking you through Millennium City with these great, intricate pieces of, you know, designs and work, and then it's written like a novella. You know, like it's really wordy. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's really strange reading some of Alan Moore's, you know, little pieces like that. You're just kind of like, what did I just read? So I'm kind of wary. You know.
Yeah. The first couple of times I read Watchmen, I skipped all the pirate stuff.
Oh, no.
The first couple of times. I read Watchmen a lot. But yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't figure out how that was fitting into Watchmen until the shark with his eye put out came out of the water. And I'm like, it's another happy face. You know, I'm like, oh, this does mean something, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The Watchmen, that's such a good book. I can talk Watchmen all day. So, but anyway, guys, go out and get Tom Strong. It's worth getting, man. It's got a cult following. It's something. A lot of 99% of it you can read with your kids if you have kids. Seriously, you know what I mean? And
and they're not super expensive.
No.
It's rare to find something as great and precise and, you know, linear as Tom Strong and it not be stupid expensive. I mean, you have like the Jeff Johns Green Lantern stuff is amazing and it's expensive. You have like the Barry Windsor Smith X-Men stuff and it's expensive. But this isn't. It's awesome. Like I said, I got the whole run for $40. So
that blows my mind.
You can buy them off my comic shop. I think they're like $1.10 an issue or less, and that's less than cover. So yeah, go get them.
Yeah, that's the way to collect, man. And for the older readers and stuff, it's kind of fun to figure out where they tapping this stuff from. Is this a Fantastic Four cover? This is the Shazam stuff. That's a Justice League, you know, little thing here and there. You know, there's something for everybody in this, man. It's just fun. Just a fun little book. Alan Moore succeeded with what he wanted to do. So, all right, Tim. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna stop the hangout, man. Unless you got more, man. I mean,
no, I think we summed it up. That was pretty concise. We should just walk away while walking away is good.
Yeah, we'll do a Costanza. We're going to walk away at the high point. You know, we're out of the. All right, guys.
Right.
All right, later, guys.
Bye.